Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Today, we're talking about a 2013 launch that enriched the Aqua Terra collection using a complication commonly associated with a famous rival from Geneva. This is the Aqua Terra day and date. Now, the day date here giving you a different look while preserving the sort of surf turf all-around versatility of the Aqua Terra line, which is not a professional diver style Seamaster. It's really in the tradition of the 1948 Seamaster, which was the first of the line and considered to be more of a water-resistant all-arounder than a dive special. So this is definitely that. Let's start with the basic dimensions of the steel case. 41.5 millimeters in diameter. It is 14.2 millimeters thick, 48.3 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw it on my wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. It's an easy watch to wear. Now, it is bigger than the current 41. It's a little bit thicker and it's a little bit broader, but it wears similar. So if you've worn a recent 41 millimeter Aqua Terra, you know exactly what this is going to be like. I could recommend this for a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. Taking a look at the cuff shot, it is fairly thick, but the case back is cuffed. So when you pull it down and tighten the strap, it's going to sit lower, and the sloped bezel means it should slide underneath most dress sleeves. Again, my wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference. This down the barrel shot is really the true one. Taking a look at the strap, it's high grade, it's expensive. It has a combination of calfskin on the bottom, large rectangular scale, symmetrical scale gator on the top with a bit of a distressed sort of leather surfacing that I really like. It's got a little bit of a wrinkle to the grain of the scales that gives it sort of an aged aesthetic. It's a little bit different than what you'll find on a lot of standard Omega watches, and as a result, it reduces the glossiness of the strap so it doesn't look too shiny. I think excessively shiny alligator leather straps are like the chromed wheels of the 2000s. They might have looked upscale for 5 minutes, but these days people want a little bit of the shine taken off to communicate refinement. Now, there is some bolstering or stuffing here to add mass, which increases the presence of the strap. There's a monotone stitch and then a folded edge. On the bottom, you can see the calfskin has no crimping, no gouging, brand new Omega factory strap. The buckle, a long-running piece in the Omega catalog since the early 2000s. It's stuck around because it works well. Twin trigger release, you can see, giving you the assurance that without pressing both triggers, it will not pop open. Now, we've got a little minder system, so you actually tuck the strap in. You can see there are two little lobes. The strap goes in, tucks under the lobes, then you fold it closed, and all the strap excess length is hidden underneath the strap length. There's no need for minder loops like these. It's a very clean look you can see right here. Now, other details that matter. The logo is polished. The rest of the buckle is satinated, a lovely and refined detail, something I enjoy seeing. Getting back to the case, one thing it does have in common with most of the diving Seamasters, the lyre-style lugs. So you have this outward bevel that's polished, but then you also have an inward bevel. On the knuckle of each lug facing inward, you have that little satinated, rounded curvature. We have a little bit of a countersink to the crown. These pre-2017 Aqua Terras had something of a crown guard profile where the crown would be sunken into the case band. There's a lot less of that on the post-2017 model. Here you've got a little bit of a nestling or nesting of the crown into the case band. The crown features media blast and polish for contrast. The case features brushed satin and polish for contrast. Screw down crown, 150 meter water resistance, polished bezel. You can see the bezel has a little bit of a vertical lip, but most of it is conical. We have a domed crystal sapphire, of course, over dial, with the original version of the teak deck concept. This sort of striation, which we would call sort of a tapestry dial if it were on a Rolex. Omega wants you to think that's like the deck of a fine yacht, and in many ways, the Aqua Terra is the surf and the turf Seamaster. It's something you could wear on the deck of your yacht, but also on the ballroom floor at the yacht club. Now, we have an applied logo, Omega marquee, individual hour indices, and then the hands, like the indices, feature differential satin and polish so that they stand out better against the blue metallic dial. We have black discs for the day as well as the date. I'll demonstrate some of the setting modes here. You can also see that the seconds track outboard and the minutes track, it's been stepped down. We have a double quick set. So I can set both the day and the date. There's your date quick set. There's your day quick set. If I pull the crown out all the way, I stop the seconds hand. Now I can synchronize to a reference time. Let's do a loom shot. You can see the watch is well loomed, including all three hands, so you know even in low light if your watch is running. Turn it all over. This is a movement you'll only find on the day and the date, although as you can see, being the 8602, it's related to the 8500 series of tri-level coaxials. So what do we have? Well, we have a bidirectional winding system feeding two mainspring barrels, giving us 60 hours of power reserve. It's a COSC certified Swiss chronometer adjusted in 5 positions. We've got an anti-magnetic silicone hairspring to make this watch robust against magnetism, and a fully anchored balance bridge with links to the base plate on both sides and a free sprung balance for shock resistance. The free sprung balance also making for a very precise adjustment of the watch, as it's easier to adjust finely using variable inertia poising screws on a balance rim than a mobile stud index with curb pins. You can just see underneath the balance bridge there's another bridge. That is the bridge for the tri-level coaxial. And what I mean by tri-level coaxial is instead of trying to make the upper escape wheel of the two stacked escape wheels the end of the drivetrain, on the tri-level coaxial, Omega puts a final drivetrain wheel on top of the two stacked escape wheels. So you have coaxial escape wheels, but then you have that third level on the top that is the end of the drivetrain turning the escape wheel. Now, when the same wheel, the second of the two escape wheels, the topmost one, was used as the end of the drivetrain, you wound up having to compromise between it being an escape wheel but also a drivetrain wheel. And that was part of the problem with the initial Omega implementations of George Daniels' coaxial escapement. With the tri-level starting in 2007 on the 8500s, or at least purpose-built as tri-levels, it finally realized its potential for improved power reserve, precision, and lower maintenance requirements. Instead of the sliding friction you get on a conventional Swiss lever, the coax, which is both a direct and indirect impulse system, it uses tangential friction, which is lower. Again, you can see there are two barrels here, and we have a 60-hour power reserve, pivots on 39 joules, and it beats away to quirky 25,200 vibrations per hour. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.